Good morning, traders. It's Friday, January 25th. Taking a look at the charts, the market's starting to pop higher today. Overseas markets all had a big pop and gain, up 1 to 1.5% last night. So the U.S. markets are following suit, with the S&P 500 up 0.8%, Nasdaq up 1.1%. So we're seeing a nice pop today. It is going to create a gap in the market to the upside at the opening bell. If we let me just go to the spike chart here. You can see here, this is the pre-market chart here, where in the last couple of days we've seen we had a gap window a couple of days ago, a spike to the downside. We had the market open flat, but there was a gap in pre-market. Today we are set to more or less have a gap to the upside, and we do have a spike to the downside. And looks like the spike comes down somewhere into more or less this top area, so price could fade back down into here. So it looks like we've got quite a bit of momentum this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the market kind of push higher a little bit more in the morning and then potentially fade down, very similar to what we saw over here when we saw this trading session, where the market kind of had a little extra momentum in the morning and then kind of fizzled back down. We'll see how the market reacts poking up to these new highs. Last time it got up to this level here, we saw a big bout of selling kick in, and it ended up recovering to be relatively flat on the session. So we'll see how that goes. Overall, the bias here, the market's having a nice gap up, and we could see it fade back down at some point today to fill some of this gap window all the way down to the lower end of this spike. That would be the sweet spot, would be just in this range here. Let's take a look over at some stocks. More or less the equities market trying to continue to hold this 5-day moving average, trying to keep this upward momentum. If we take a look at a stock, Roku, we can see here it's got a very nice bullish formation, nice volume coming into play. Looking to get long here today, get ready for a morning alert. It is set to gap slightly higher this morning, but it's a high momentum play. Looks like it could very easily expand up to around this 51.20, potentially up into this 56 area. There's a lot of built up demand in here, a lot of, I think, upside potential. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled. We're going to look for some type of pop and play going forward into here. Taking a look at some of the safe havens, we are seeing obviously money's moving into equities, so we are seeing the safe havens retreat today. We are seeing gold, or sorry, not gold, bonds are moving down. You can't see it here on this particular chart, but utilities at this point are trading sharply lower this morning, below yesterday's low. So it's going to have a pretty big, I think, gap to the downside, or a drop today based on pre-market trading. And that's where, so the money is moving out of the safe havens into the risk on assets. And let's just take a look at the gold and silver. Gold and silver are actually moving up nicely. We're seeing the US dollar pull back today, and we're seeing a pop in gold up about 0.6%. Silver's up 1.2, really just started to rip to the upside in the last 40 minutes. Last 4 10-minute bars are green, 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 moving up. So we're seeing a nice recovery there. Obviously, that's going to help lift miners. Miners are trading above the previous 2 days ago, they're the previous high. So it's getting up to this pretty significant little short-term resistance area that if we just drew a line across this chart, we are trading right here in pre-market. Right here in pre-market. So we're up at this previous bar, this opening price. We got a bunch of bars right through here and a closing price right through these tops. So it is going to gap into short-term resistance. We'll see if it can get some traction. Overall, gold miner sector, the precious metal sector, has been one of the leading sectors in the overall stock market. While it was crashing, this sector was on fire. So money has been going there. It simply had a nice big run, and now it's been bull flagging and having a consolidation. If we just do a Fibonacci retracement, you can see here it's come down into this 50 level, this 0.382 level, and between the 50. So very bullish type of pullback. Usually we want it to find support anywhere from the 50% and up. Usually we don't want to see it go down to the 618. Shows a little bit more weakness than bullish. So it is loaded. We're going to see it pop up today. Hopefully we start to see a reversal and see this market continue to extend to the upside. Looking over at energies, natural gas down 1.25% this morning, kind of bouncing bottom. We were hoping to see, originally, we were hoping to see this have a washout low, a sharp drop to the downside and a reversal. That was going to be our sign to get long. Instead, the market The market always has a way of bridging prices. Instead, it gapped above this gap and had a runaway move, and of course, it fizzled all the way back down. Not the ideal setup we were looking for. Anyways, we're going to let this continue to mature, potentially form some type of reversal pattern to get long. I am still bullish on it, but at this point, it's kind of a dead man play right here, just kind of bouncing bottom. And short-term bias has got a little tiny bear flag, 3 sideways bars, big down bar. This looks like it could continue to have this washout low, break this low over here, get down to the 280-ish area or lower, and potentially put in that reversal we are looking for. The market always has a way of dragging things out longer than you expected and moving in a few different angles and directions before the final reversal takes place. So we'll just let that continue to mature and build something for us to trade. Crude oil, relatively flat on the session this morning. Overall, it's holding at resistance. It's actually holding up very well. It's holding this 5-day moving average. I do feel as though we're going to see it pop somewhere in between this 62 and this 57.50. I think it could pop very easily into there, but again, it is struggling at resistance. It's holding its ground. It hasn't had any big bouts of selling that have done any damage. We'll see how that unfolds going forward. Falling dollar will help lift this a little bit, and we could see this pop at any day here. Ideally, actually a pullback down to the 20-day, which would also be this pivot low, could be a good opportunity for getting into a long position because it should pop back up and start to ping pong between these levels and work its way up to this range. Anyways, that's it for this morning. Talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.